How would it feel to have a thriving fitness business and have the freedom to enjoy life at the fullest? Well, that is exactly what the Trainer Revenue Multiplier Show is going to give you. My name is Mathew Park. This is Jaime Filer.
Hey guys.
And we are here to serve.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Trainer Revenue Multiplier Show. We appreciate having you. I am so excited to have really the host of the show on with me today, talking about important things you do after a sales call. Mathew, how are you?
Amazing, Jaime. How are you doing? My co-host, my powerhouse, the TRM mentor herself. And post-birthday, by the way, girl.
I know. I'm a full year older since the last time we did the podcast. I feel so much wiser. I'm ready.
I love the shirt, by the way.
I was just going to say, we're both in super sporty mode. I like
this. I got the black thing going on. It's like a blue and a black thing. It's kind of cool.
I like it. I like it. Yeah. So let's talk important things to do after a sales call. Why is this even a topic? I guess, right? The average trainer might think, what do you mean important things to do after a sales call? You make the client's program. That's what you do after a sales call, right? Like what? So tell me how and why you even thought of this, Mathew.
It's because a lot of trainers and coaches, actually everybody in the industry when it comes to this, are so focused on what they do before a sales call, and they forget what happens after a sales call. When 78% of your sales and conversions come after a sales call is done, when someone says, not yet.
Okay. Oh, right. I love this. Right. So is this assuming that you did not sell, or are we going to be talking about the no, the I'll think about it, and the, yeah, okay, let's do it?
You bet. All three categories.
Okay, great. So let's start with the yes, because that's an easy one, right? Again, you sign a client on the phone, on Zoom, it goes so well. What is the next step, if not just to create their program?
I love it. So the question I ask right now is that, how can you give that new client an experience that they never had before, right? What do most trainers do? They usually ask for payment and give them a program. Yep. Which is fine, but how can you be elite? How can you be even better? How can you leave a memory of like, I want to give my 3 friends to Jaime Filer because she's that amazing? Which comes into, what are your steps after they say yes, right? What's the follow-up email? What's the thank you for joining the TRM or the Jaime Filer family afterwards text message? What is during the Facebook group experience? What is, like the next that's basically happening in the email, like here's what you're going to expect the next 4 days. You're going to get these 7 steps happening: onboarding call, your programming, a welcome to the Facebook group. I'm going to give you a free ebook as well as part of joining our program. All these things they weren't expecting are part of the experience, right? Who knows what you're doing? Giving me a video from Jaime Filer saying like, welcome to Jaime Filer training, right? And like, yeah. Oh my gosh, I got Filer and give me a welcome video as well. So it asks them the question, how can you wow them?
For sure. Because remember, guys, this person just invested could be anywhere from $149 to $1,049 in you and your service, but mostly in you, right? Because they had faith and trust. So to then not hear from you for 2 to 3 days because you know that you're on the other end of the computer building the most killer program, but like, they have no idea that that's happening. So the reason that we give so much value and we invite them to the Facebook group and we send like an automated YouTube welcome video is so that they are reassured every day that they don't hear from you, that they still made the right choice in hiring you. So you mentioned some really great examples, Mathew. You mentioned like a free value add PDF, right? So, hey, I know you don't have your program yet, but take these 10 high protein vegan recipes. Or I know you don't have your program yet, but take these 10 killer body weight Metcons, right? Again, like we mentioned, immediately after the call, thank you text, thank you email with a welcome video. Let them see your face as frequently as possible. Another one that you're a huge fan of advocating is tagging them in posts on social media specifically related to a pain point, right? So let's say you have in your saved posts on Instagram one about emotional eating and how to navigate that, right? Maybe we just tag every new client we get in that particular post and they're like, oh my God, my trainer was just thinking of me. That's so considerate, right? What's another, can we get a couple more examples once you have made the sale?
Testimonial videos.
Ooh.
To reassure working with Jaime Filer was the best choice that they made.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
That creates the buyer's remorse is now totally gone now because they're like, oh my gosh, there's 25 videos from Filer's clients and all these transfers. She must be the bomb.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And I want to call, go ahead. Sorry.
Social proof. No worries. Yeah.
Social proof. Yes. Great term. So the other thing about sending testimonials, guys, is please remember to make them relevant, right? If you have women who struggle with anxiety and emotional eating, we don't need the most epic male physique competitor transformation, even if it was a killer before and after, and you're so freaking proud of what you did with Mathew's body. Mathew isn't relevant. He's not your target market. People want to see people like them and who they want to be like by the time they've completed the 12-month, 6-month process with you, right? Like, keep that in mind, relevance.
Also, add a referral in there process for them. They're warm with you. They join with you. All of a sudden, you have 3 friends that possibly, you want to refer to the program. If they sign up the program, you might get the first month for free.
Yes. Mathew, correct me if I'm wrong, but do you not do that right away when you sign someone in TRM? You're like, hey, thanks so much for joining. Can I get 3 names? Or are there 3 trainers you know?
It's usually not the first call. Usually it's kind of like a little bit, a couple of days actually in.
Okay.
It's like overwhelming of like, there's 10 things for you to, get done. But it's more of the process.
Love it. Okay.
Yeah.
So how many days of follow-up? Like, I know for me, it takes 48 to 72 hours to make a program. Do you think I should still deliver after that 72-hour mark? Or do I just kind of need those value add fillers between the sales call and the 72-hour program?
Exactly. Definitely. So if you're eating social proof, number 1, you're eating a little value add as far as maybe an ebook or some PDF to give them like extra value add for you in there. A couple emails and texts in the 7 days to kind of reaffirm quotes, inspiration, stories, again, to reaffirm that the choice working with you is so important. And of course, now, keeping your steps in check. So if your first, email on when they said yes, are these 7 steps, and you follow through 7 steps of like program design, here's your meal plan, here's the Facebook group, and those are being done, that's like customer experience times 10, right? A follow through is there.
I love that. I love that. Also, I believe that both Pipeline Pro and the TRM engine has the capability to do a voicemail drop.
Yeah.
Right. So I know for my own process, after someone has signed on with me, there is a phone call that goes out on the 3rd day, which should be the 3rd day of their food logging, that says, hey, I'm just making sure that my Fitness Pal is going well and you understand how to use the app. Please let me know.
Oh, I like that. That's very good, Jaime, the voicemail.
So you can leave a voicemail, right? Call them up or do a voicemail drop using the TRM engine. Oh,
that's so brilliant. See, that's a lot of amazing ideas. I love that.
Okay, so now let's talk about no. Someone has flat out just said no. Why do we even bother? Important things to do after a sales call if somebody has said, no, I'm not interested in working with you at this time.
Well, I guess no could be looked at multiple ways, because no might mean not yet, right?
Yeah.
No might mean you aren't totally a fit, which that can totally happen as far as you aren't really my demographic. I think you're amazing, but here's someone probably better fit for you, which totally makes sense. That's a referral. Somebody else. So it's more of that. So to me, it's either one of those two. It's either no is not yet, or no, you aren't a fit for the program.
I love it. Okay. So then what do we do once someone has said no? Because if they're not a good fit for the program or they don't want us, what could we possibly still give them?
So I would say that definitely going into like the no and the thinking about definitely kind of have very similar follow-up system as far as that is concerned. So no means not yet, or thinking about means like I'm going to think about it for the next little while. You want a follow process in there, like of course the email the same day, the text message, the testimonial, social proofs, the video, the voicemails, like all these things to, again, add value on the follow-up. If it's not really a fit for your coaching or your training programs, no problem, refer them to somebody else in your circle,
Yep.
right? That builds a lot of credibility and trust for you as a coach. And if they're like, oh my gosh, this person didn't take me as a client, they gave me somebody else, but they're like, this person I can trust.
Sure. Absolutely. Yes. I think that's a really, right? It's sorry it didn't work out, but that doesn't mean that, we can't be friends, right?
100%, man. Yeah.
So what would you give to someone who said no or not yet? You said testimonials.
Correct. So I'd make it more of like a recap of the offer, and I would say, you know what, here's just you have the information as far as having it for the future whenever you're ready or whenever it's going to be. Here's information for you, testimonials and so forth. And I'll probably put them into more of like a 14-day drip sequence that would involve basically like a little more stuff happening in the first 7 days and less happening on the 7 days afterwards.
Sure.
So I would see something happening every day in the first 7 days. Email, text, voicemail, kind of back and forth, right? Give or take.
Yeah.
And I would say anywhere from probably 3 to 4 follow-ups the week afterwards, right? Dripping more information. Now they're in their database now. So which means you can drip them information and content all year long, right? Every week if you want, right?
Yep. I think that's really important because that's not something we discussed at all, right? Important things you do after sales call. Number one, add them to your database. Whether it's a yes, a thinking about it, or a no, that person is in your ecosystem, right? Because again, further down the line, they might want you. Further down the line, you might have something else to sell them. For example, you team up with a supplement company, right? Maybe they weren't a great fit for your coaching, but everyone needs protein, right? So let's put them in your mailing list. I love that. I love that idea. And then the third category, there's something I might want to come back to, but I want to see how you answer the next question.
Sure.
For the thinking about it category, what would your sequence be?
The sequence would definitely be a bit more personalized because the thing is, when you finish that call and they're thinking about it, you want to book the next call, touching base call on that call. That's extremely important, more important than even the follow-up email. Because when you have them warm and they're thinking about it, they have to go talk to their partner or whatever else. Again, I'm not really a pushy. I'm more of like work with the person in the process here. Book them in either 24, 40, or 72 hours after that first call. And worst case, it could be a week. That's totally fine. It is what it is. But book a call. Book some kind of call, right? In the calendar. Yeah, very, very important. And then from there, then of course, now it's follow-up time, right? The text afterwards, the email follow-up afterwards as far as like, the recap of the offer and next steps. These steps are different. They could be more of like, hey, join the Facebook for more free information. Here's an ebook to give you more free value. Here's 10% off supplements for, Magnum or First Form supplements, whatever you want to do there. So like you're adding these snippets of like little add value things while they're waiting for the next call with you in 2 or 3 days from now.
Definitely.
Right?
Yep. I like that. I like that a lot. And I think it's important, especially with the thinking about it. And we talk about this in our Black Belt follow-up module, is that there's almost like a formula. So obviously the recap of the offer, and then we go to value add, right? Because we want to show that we're still super willing to give, even though they've not necessarily invested in us yet, right? It's no skin off my back. As many ebooks as you want, I've got you. So we've got the recap, then we have the value add, then we have the testimonial and social proof, then we have another value add. So for myself, for example, I have the body weight ebook, followed by a testimonial, followed by how to eat out in a restaurant without breaking your diet. Because again, my niche, my demographic likes balance and moderation. They're not competitors. They want to know how to get lean, but not give up the things they love. And then the next day, again, yet another testimonial, one related to anxiety, one related to an eating disorder. And then 5th day, another phone call, right? Because sometimes they need time, right? Especially if you call them on a Thursday or Friday, they're going to take the whole weekend to look it over. Everybody knows Mondays are stressful. So, right. So we're looking at about the 5-day mark max is when they've booked their follow-up call with me.
So with that process in motion for you, Jaime, how has that impacted your conversions?
I'll be honest, Matthew, typically, if people say I'll think about it, there's a very good, like 75% chance they're not coming back, right? Because as Ross says, if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. And people know that, but people are kind. You know, they're politically correct. They feel bad rejecting me on a Zoom call because they can see my face. They'd rather reject me in a text message 5 days later. But it's definitely not, no one's ever said, geez, can you stop spamming me with all your amazing stories of success?
Yeah.
Or like, geez, I wish you'd stop giving me free stuff. So, I mean, they're still appreciative. And then sometime, and of course they're added to the database. So every quarter I go through, 400, 500 names and everyone is emailed. And I was like, it's essentially, hey, how are you? Is now a good time? Or how are things working out with your other trainer? Again, super respectful. Yeah.
Do you have a qualification process before they come to you for that call?
I mean, we typically dialogue, we'll dialogue via direct message. So I'll know what I'm getting myself into. Yeah. If anything, it would just be the price, right? Because it's the first time they're hearing about it. So if they weren't expecting it, or right, a lot of people, even in 2022, have no idea what to expect for an online personal trainer. Yep. They're like, I budgeted $50. And I was like, I have an ebook. I'll just give it to you. No problem. That's
a good angle. Very good angle.
Yeah.
So any thoughts from your angle, Jaime, that you think are really important for the listeners to understand on follow-up, like from those 3 different examples?
Absolutely. If someone says, I'll think about it, or if they say no, remember, Mathew, you've taught us that 80% of sales are made between the 5th and 12th contact point.
Yeah.
So don't feel bad when you're still DMing them or emailing them or texting them 7 days later, because 7 days would imply at least 7 contact points, which means you still have 5 more to go before you can officially state that you did everything you could have not to lose that sale.
That is so true. That is so true.
Yeah. The other thing, and this is just my approach, if somebody says like an actual hard no, they get the free ebook. And then the next day they get invited to my Facebook group, but I don't keep going back with, yeah, but look how successful this person was. And look how right? If they've given me a legitimate reason, I'm going to back off. But that's because, again, my people struggle with anxiety. The last thing they need is a trainer on their butt for 14 days in a row, and then 3 to 4 days a week, 2 weeks after, but I think, you're obviously our approach in TRM, it totally works. I just can't work that way for people with mental health struggles.
Makes complete sense. 100%.
Yeah. So know your audience, right? Like if you're working with, our friend Kyle Bailey, right? He's got some tough guy construction workers. I'm assuming a tough guy construction worker is like all pass. Yeah. So Kyle might not want to do 14 days straight of follow-up, right? So know your audience. It does work for some people. Absolutely. We've seen success. Otherwise we wouldn't preach it, but know your audience.
I love it. I think one last thing to keep in mind as we kind of run out of today's talk, guys, is also know your audience. You mentioned know your audience, but also know the offer you're presenting to the actual prospect can also be a factor. So if you have a high ticket offer, sometimes that person might need actually the day or two actually need to find the funds or pull money from a certain way to get money. That's why that call to be booked on the call for a different day is so critical. If you're, of course, it depends on the actual price point. Yeah. Usually anything over $1,000 or $2,000 may require maybe a second call if maybe you're not. Yeah. Over $5,000 might take them over a second. Just depends, right?
Yep. And that's also the other reason you want to recap the offer. Because if you have like a laundry list of stuff you offer, like we do in TRM, they might not have processed all of it. So it's not just the funds, but it's also the meat.
Yes.
Right? You didn't understand the meat of the offer, or really just how much they were getting and the value, not the investment.
I love that, Jaime. Oh, good episode, man.
Fantastic episode, guys. I hope we've given you, well, first of all, I hope we've made you hungry, but I hope we've given you food for thought in regards to important things you do after a sales call. Remember, just because it's a no doesn't mean it's a hard no. It could be a not yet. Also, please keep in mind, if someone says, I'll think about it, you don't want to stop providing value or social proof. And if someone said yes, don't ghost them for 3 days while you're working hard on their program. Have a follow-up sequence in place for these people.
I love it, Jaime.
Thank you, Mathew, so much for being on the podcast. Thank you guys for listening, whether it's Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you're coming from. We hope that you will subscribe, rate us, like us, and most importantly, refer us. Share us with your friends. Have an incredible day, and we'll see you on the trainer.
Thank you, Jaime.